Hey everyone, it's Helen here with Health and with Helen, and thanks for joining me on this Sunday in the kitchen. Guys, I have been in the kitchen all weekend long. You already know what time of year it is. We are at the end of August, so we are edging toward hunting season. So if you come from a hunting family, somebody's got to do the cooking. Somehow along the line, I became the camp cook. I don't know. I don't know how I got nominated for that, but that is now my job. It's a real deal job. So I go back 20 years ago and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. My husband told me that he was a hunter, and I thought, oh, okay, that makes sense. My dad hunts. My dad goes out for a day or two, gets his antelope or his deer. I think he got a buffalo one year, but okay, yeah, that makes sense. We live in Wyoming. We are surrounded by a lot of hunters, but I didn't know I was marrying a hunter, okay, an avid hunter. So one that disappears for a week, 2 weeks, a month. Not only is he a personal hunter, he was also a guide for many, many years. So people would fly in to Wyoming. He worked for a guiding service. So he would guide them to go find their deer, their antelope, their elk. And so he is an avid hunter. And if you could see my living room, it actually looks like a Jackson Hole lodge. No joke. I'm like, there's really no room. Okay, guys, I'm not a hunter, so you have to compromise somewhere in between. I definitely love the outdoors. I love the beautiful animals. I love to eat the meat, so there you go, but I'm not the hunter-gatherer. However, he is the hunter, and this time of year is a big deal. Like, we start preparing 2 months in advance. Like, there's lists, and I'm not joking about the list, like 5 category lists that we have to go through, like binoculars, this, that, to make sure you have your shoes and your pillows and all of everything that you're going to need, which is a list that is so lengthy that it's just like, I don't even know what's on this list, but there's lists and we have to go off of a check mark system. And so my job though gets to be in the kitchen cooking for all the guys. There's 4 of them going up on this trip coming up next week. So they're leaving next week and they could be gone for up to 2 weeks on this particular hunt. Then they're going to come back and then they're going to go on an elk hunt and they could be gone for another 2-3 weeks. I don't know. I mean, they come home to shower and come home to replenish, but then they're out the door again. So they're all kind of helping each other. They're all going out together. And then after that this year, I mean, every year he tends to go on like some type of an extravagant hunt where he kind of travels off somewhere. This year he's going to Canada. So I will not be the camp cook on that one. He's never been to Canada, so he'll be doing that one in November. But this particular one that they are going on next week is like a big deal, I guess, in the hunting world. So if you're a hunter, you'll know what I mean. He got a goat tag. So he is going to be going up by Cody, Wyoming into grizzly bear country and hunting for goats. And it's a really hard hunt because they go up on these steep cliffs. And so you have to be physically ready. And so for the last several months, he's been trying to get back into like fighting shape so that he can make it up these steep cliffs. I hope it goes well, but I'm sure it will. There's a big group of them. One of the guys that he is going out there with, though, this is kind of interesting. He actually was attacked by a bear a few years ago here in Wyoming. Literally, the bear attacked him, got him, and then somebody obviously had to get the bear off of him. Unfortunately, it was a really sad situation. So he was attacked, not in this particular area of Wyoming that they're going, but still, you have to be really, really, really careful. But the group of guys that are going up there, they're all like really serious, avid hunters, hunting guides. They've all done it. But guys, they're bringing up horses, campers, like tents, so when they do get up into these areas, if they have to stay. So it's not you're just like, hey, we're gonna jump in the truck, go out, grab a cooler and just, eat a breakfast burrito and hunt for the day thing. No, this is like real deal hunting. They're bringing their side-by-sides, their four-wheelers, you name it. Anyways, do what you gotta do, guys, because if you're like me, and you're a hunting widow, as they call us, and whether you're, doesn't matter, your spouse, man or woman is leaving, it's just like, enjoy it. I enjoy the month by myself or the 2 months or however long. No complaints out of me, which I actually think it's kind of funny because I have friends, like if their husband leaves for like a day or two or they go hunting or wherever they go, they're so sad. They're like, oh, I wish he was home. And I'm like, what? know. I am a very independent soul. I'm an independent cat, so I'm like, you can leave me here. We're all good, right? And I know a lot of you are probably agreeing with me. It's just like, I don't have to cook. I don't have to do this. I get to be on my own schedule. It feels good. So I don't mind doing a lot of this prep packing because it's just like, good, you go. And then when they're happy, you're happy and everyone's happy, right? And I got a lot going on in my house right now because I don't know. I got overruled and we have a new puppy, guys. Okay, so I love the puppy. Well, I can't even say I love because I just got the puppy. The puppy I will love. I know I will eventually. A lot of you know that I lost my Charlie in December, so my heart's still really broken and I can't even watch videos or anything of him right now. So I'm still like really, really sad. I have my Camber, which is a lab, and we've had her for 10 years. And so she's been definitely there for me through this heartbreak. But now we have another Yorkie in the house, and I forgot what it was like to have a baby Yorkie. They're so cute, they're so sweet, but they're so high energy and they're feisty. And this little one, she's a girl, and so she's got a lot of tude already, and she thinks she rules the house. And so it's a lot of work on top of everything. So even though I would like to say this next month or 2 or 3, however long hunting season goes into, that I'm going to be relaxing, you know, I'm not going to be relaxing. I'm not going to be relaxing because now I have like a baby in the house. So anyways, though, okay, guys, camp cook. That's me. A lot of things I like to prepare easy meals. I'm not going to go through everything, but every year I kind of pick like 4 or 5 go-to meals that I can put into like 4 or 5 containers, depending on how many people are going up there and for how long they're going up there. I love easy because then that way they can just get to the camp, they can just throw it in the microwave and they can be done. And so, and then I just freeze most of it. I feel like some of the stuff you can't really freeze because then it gets kind of gross, especially like the creamy soup. So I always tell them like, guys, eat this first. Some of the stuff that I just send off with them, though, obviously we already know the normal stuff. Just send them with like trail mix, chips, salsas. I'm going to be making today, if you can see behind me, I've got the oats out, the peanut butter, the sugar, the vanilla, and all that. I'm going to be making no-bake cookies. I'm going to make a huge batch of those. So anything that's going to give them like a lot of energy, obviously we know that peanut butter can. Guys, I'm going to take my try at the no-bake cookies. This is not my area of expertise because when I was in foods in 7th grade, I actually got an F on the no-bake cookies. Yes, I got an F on it, which is so funny. And so when he brought up like, hey, we want no-bake cookies, I actually got a little bit scared, a little intimidated. I'm like, no-bake cookies? I actually flunked that. Like I got an F on that particular project because I forgot to add the sugar. I forgot to add the sugar and they were so gross. And so now I'm kind of like having like PTSD, like I don't know that I want to make those and I have to make this big batch. So I've put them off until the very end. Like this is the very last thing that I'm going to do. So I'm going to make the no-bake cookies. We've already got some green chili burritos in the freezers outside. I got like 4 freezers full of everything, but we're finishing up on the meat because we're going to be getting new meat, right? And so, but I've got the breakfast burritos ready to go. We've got some Jimmy Dean, just like the croissant sandwiches that they can throw in the microwave. Obviously, I didn't do any of that. Yesterday, I made some red chili. Okay, I'm just going to give you guys a rundown on how to make that red chili super easy. I used 2 big things of elk hamburger that I had from last year. So just as big as you got, however you got it packaged out, or you can do 2 or 3 depending if you got the smaller little things. I just cooked it up with a half of an onion and a whole green pepper, and I just seasoned it with garlic, salt, pepper, got it all browned up. And then I took a pack and a half of the just chili seasoning, whatever kind you like. I sprinkled it over the meat once it was cooked, added 2 containers of the tomato sauce, the Hunt's tomato sauce, stirred it all together, put in some fresh garlic. I brought it to a boil, put in the kidney beans. I used 2 cans in a big like kind of pot. Voila, that was it. Added a lot of salt. I like a lot of salt in that. And then you can add a little extra chili powder if you want. Some people like, some people don't. So I didn't add a lot of extra of that. And I just left it. I let it simmer. That took me less than an hour to make. Put it in containers, froze it up because that one's always really good being frozen. I also did chicken noodles, so like a creamy chicken noodle. This was kind of a 2-part thing, which usually you could do it in a 1-day thing, but I broke it up into 2. I bought 2 packs of the chicken thighs. I boiled them in chicken broth with bay leaves. I added a little extra chicken bouillon just to give it that flavor, and I cooked it over a 2-hour period where it just kind of barely boiled so that it could get cooked. After it was done, what I did was I shredded the chicken. I put it in a separate bowl and I saved the broth and I put it in the fridge for a day. And then the next day I ended up putting it into the crock pot and I just added all the chicken. I added that bouillon you know, the broth that I'd cooked it all in, because it had like the bone broth, and so obviously it had health benefits, but it also had some shredded chicken in it. It kind of had the fat and stuff still left. And then I just added another container of chicken broth to that. I stirred it all together in the crock pot. I left it on low for probably 5 to 6 hours. And then the only thing that I did there was I put in some fresh carrot. I chopped up a fresh carrot. I did 2 of those. And then I did some fresh onion, and I threw that in there as well. I did half a fresh onion in that. And then I ended up adding 2 packs of the grandma's noodles, guys. That's where it's critical. And I put those in the last hour and a half of cooking that. Grandma's noodles, only way to go. I'm telling you what, so good. And it gives it that creamy, thick texture that you're looking for. Put it in the last hour and a half, done. And then I ended up scooping it into bowls, froze it, because that one freezes really good too. Right now I have some enchiladas in the oven, so I'm gonna pull those out and I'll show you. I don't even know that these are going to make it to hunting camp, if I'm being completely honest with you. They'll probably end up getting eaten this week. But there you go. These ones are green chili enchiladas, and I just used some of the hamburger and a little bit of like sausage like mixture that I used for my cheeseburger soup, which I'm cooking right now, which I'm gonna give you the recipe for, and voila. And I used this right here. I just did shredded cheese, tortillas. I added the hamburger mixture, super easy. I poured in a little bit of like green chili sauce in it. I folded them. I put the remaining, well, almost the remaining green sauce in there, and then just topped it with cheese. That was it. And then you guys can top it as you like. Like, you can add the toppings you like. You can add sour cream, tomatoes, lettuce, black olives, whatever you want. A lot of that stuff you probably won't have up at hunting camp, but just bring like some sour cream and call it a day. They're gonna be bringing up big giant coolers with ice and dry ice so that they can keep these things frozen. They're gonna bring up a couple packs of steaks, like the ribeyes, so the nights that they feel like grilling, they can do that. And then they're gonna be making up bacon and sausage and eggs and all of that kind of stuff. But yes, I've got some enchiladas right here. And then another recipe that I made, and I wanted to show you guys some of these. So here was the chicken noodles, completely done. Super good. Obviously this has been in the refrigerator, so, but that's what that one looked like. Here's the red chili. So that one kind of came out good. You can't really see the beans there. I promise you guys, it tastes really good. May not look good, it tastes good. And then this recipe right here, guys, this one was super easy too. I chopped up some pork, because the guys liked pork, so I cooked up pork in like a big pan, and then I added a little tiny bit of flour and some olive oil, and I browned it, got it all cooked up. At the same time over here, I was boiling up 3 potatoes chopped and cubed over here in like a beef bouillon broth. And so I just let them boil until they got soft. So however long it takes for yours to get soft, that's how long you're gonna wanna cook it. And then I ended up chopping up fresh green chilies from the store, those frozen ones you can get in the freezer section. And then I put those in there, and I kind of let it all like boil up and cook together. And then you just add a jar of your favorite salsa, whatever you like. I added a 505 green chili sauce, and then I ended up pouring that in. And so at this point, it's probably been about an hour sitting there cooking, sitting there simmering. I've got my pork completely done over here, completely browned over here. And then once this part right here comes to a boil and everything's looking good, I added my pork, stirred it in, and voila, that was it. They didn't want any thickener to this one. They didn't want any creaminess. They didn't want any thickener. They wanted it to be more soupy, more brothy. And so there you have it. And then I added a lot of garlic, a lot of salt. I'm always adding all of that stuff. Obviously that's not stuff I can eat, but I'm still adding it. And then that one ended up looking like this. Okay. There you go, soupy. But you've got your pork, and you've got your tomatoes, and you've got your green chilies, and you've got all that. And again, you can add like sour cream to that, or whatever you would like to add to that. So these are just the little extra containers that I had left. So I wanted to show you those, because everything else, like I said, is out in the freezer and it's frozen. And then right now, you can't see it. I'll just kind of, so this is my big giant crock pot. And then I've got like all my cheese and stuff. So cheeseburger soup, this is a favorite of all the guys, and so this might be one that you definitely want to cook. Super easy. You brown up about 2 pounds of hamburger, You add some Jimmy Dean sausage as much as you like. You can do the spicy, you can do the mild, you can do whatever. Brown it up together, season it with some garlic, do that. In the meantime, you're chopping up some celery, you're chopping up a half of an onion, you're using shredded carrots, or you can chop up a carrot, and you're also taking a couple potatoes and you're dicing them and making them really small cubes, because you're gonna add all of that to the crock pot. Okay, so you're browning your meat, and at the same time you're getting your celery, your onion, your carrots, and your potatoes into the crock pot. And then once this is done, then you add it on top of those vegetables that you put in there. And then you take a big giant container of the chicken broth, and then you can add about one of the bigger ones. And then I always do that with like a smaller one and about half of that. So I do a big one and a half of a small one. And then I stir it all together. I put it on high. I'm gonna keep it on high now for about 4 to 5 hours while it cooks. And then I'm going to, at that point, I'm gonna come in and I'm going to add a whole entire block of Velveeta cheese. And so you can do the spicy Mexican version, or you can just do the original. I'm doing just the original because I added sausage to the hamburger, so that already gives it a little bit of that zest, a little bit of that spice. And then I will end up adding that about the last hour. So you'll come in and add all of your cheese, and then you'll nicely stir it in, and it's gonna kind of be thick, but that's okay. If you need to add a little broth at that time, you can. And then I also take 2 things of cream cheese, and then I cube those up as well, chilled cream cheese, and I throw that in over the top too, and I stir it in. Voila, you've got your cheeseburger soup. And so you let it cook that last hour together, you turn it off, you put it into your bowls. The only thing that I recommend with the cheeseburger soup is that you don't freeze it. You can, but it's just, I don't know, because of all the cream and the cheese, for me, it's a no-go. I'm just like, no. So that's what I told him. I'm like, eat this one first. When you get there to camp on Thursday, eat the cheeseburger soup for a day or 2, and then you should be good to go. All right, and so I can't really think of anything else at this very moment that I'm going to be making. I think they're good. I got some cheese slices, and I told them just take up the remaining elk, you know, keep it frozen, and then one day maybe make up some burgers, because you want to have a lot of food just in case, and especially, you know, for 4 big growing boys, and if they are up there for the full 2 weeks, which they're planning, and then whatever they don't eat on this particular trip, a lot of these frozen ones, they can take up on their elk hunting, because they're going for a goat, like I said. So they'll be goat hunting on this one for the 2 weeks, and then after that they'll be going straight into elk hunting, and then obviously the other trips. So they're gonna need energy. And I know one guy that's going on the trip, all he wants is peanut butter and jelly. That's what he wants. He wants a big jar of peanut butter, and he wants the preserves, the raspberry jelly, and just to make big sandwiches to keep the energy, because they use so much energy walking and hiking and climbing and doing what they do. And so that's what he wants. And so it's just like, okay, I got some bread, I got some jelly, and I got some peanut butter. But I'm thinking he'll probably at some point maybe want a bowl of soup or a burger or a steak. I don't know. But that was his only request, was for that. And he's like, you know me, that's all I want. So it's like, okay, pick your poison, right? Anyways, guys, I hope that you have a great day. I don't know if you've read my t-shirt. I thought it was kind of funny. Don't pet the bison. Yellowstone National Park. I was up there a couple of weeks ago. We drove through Du Bois, all through Yellowstone, through the whole entire park, which I love to do once a year. It's one of my favorite places in the whole entire world. If you have not been, you have to go. If you haven't been since you were a child, you have to go. It's the kind of beauty and creation that just takes your breath away. You just see God's hand all over it. It's so amazing. I absolutely love it. I'm always in awe. It actually brings me to tears when I'm up there, because it's so pretty. Yellowstone Lake and the mountains, and you see the nature, and you see animals. And we did see a bear when we were up there. We seen a black bear, and it was really cool because it was so pretty, and it had this big bright orange face. I mean, obviously up close it wouldn't have been that cute, but from a distance up in the trees, you know, anytime you see like 1,000 cars parked on the side, they've spotted something. They have spotted something. Sometimes it's a fox, sometimes it's a bear, sometimes it's an elk, a moose. I don't know. You're gonna find everything up in the park depending on the time of day and where you're at. But I absolutely love Yellowstone, and there's all the little shops, and there's so many different things you can do, the geysers. And so I really feel like you need a full week when you're up in Yellowstone Park. And genuinely, honestly, you're going to, if you're going up there camping and especially bringing in campers, you're going to want to book that way in advance, at least 9 months, maybe even a year in advance if you want to get some of the good spots, because people go up there in the bulk and they come from everywhere. So you have to give yourself a lot of time to book those campsites. And so I would even say get on now and start looking if you're planning on coming up to Yellowstone next year. We didn't camp this year. We do normally camp every year. This year we just drove up through DuBois, went up through the whole park, and then we made our way into Cody, spent a couple days into Cody, and then Brian was able to go up and kind of scout the area and get used to the trails where they'll be here this coming week. And so, but I came across this t-shirt when I was in a gift shop, and I thought, this is funny. Why do we even have to tell people don't pet the bison, right? Well, I don't get that, but it's like people do it. They do it. They get close. They think like, oh, and it's like, we already know they get trampled. They get chased. Bad things happen if you pet the bison or anything else. Don't pet the bears. Don't pet the bison. Don't pet the wildlife. And so this t-shirt right here, I thought was really cute and funny. But anyways, maybe it's not so funny to some people. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope that some of my quick meals helped you. And like I said, I just start probably about 2 to 3 days in advance prior to when they're going to be taking off. And so many of the different things are freezable. And if you have any ideas for me for the upcoming years, throw them in the comment section. Or if you have any questions on how to mix a few of the different little things that I just made, because I know it's really general, again, ask me. I would be more than happy. But a lot of these, like I said, they're favorites for the guys, and they're easy go-to meals. So have a great day. Bye.